Hey folks, it's your girl Lexi Mahari, and I am back with another episode of Buzzworthy Chit Chat, where I like to share my opinion on the latest pop culture news, current events, and so much more. But before we dive in, please take a moment to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, hit the notification bell so that you can be notified each time I upload a brand new video. In this episode, we are reviewing The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 14, Episode 13, A Rum Punch to the Gut. If you're new to the channel, here's what I like to do. I am going to share with you my top 3 moments of this week's episode. Here we go. The number 3 moment of the episode is pretty simple and it almost was my bonus feature moment, but it has to go yet again to the shady producers who decided to pull in Kenya's past when it came to men after she made a comment which indicated that she had a good judge of character when it came to men. So my number 2 moment of this episode has to be when Drew meets the publisher. And so we learn a little bit more about Ralph writing his book about being a step parent. That's my takeaway, or at least my summary of what he was trying to convey, that he wants to write a book about parenting and what it's like to be a stepfather and navigating this difficult situation. What I do find interesting is that he has not really included Drew in this process. Now I understand him saying that, well, this was my journey and I wanted to take this journey alone, but it really makes no sense that he would not have included her at this point in the game, even if for that meeting, as Drew said, that they're meeting with the publisher, you would have thought that this might have even been the opportunity for him to say, and I'm going to give you my manuscript to take a look at or to read it, because he then proceeds to say that he wants her to write the foreword. Well, how is she going to write the foreword if she hasn't read the book itself, right? So that's a little sketchy. And then she doesn't even know what's really being said about her, their family, or again how Ralph feels about raising her son. So I thought that was it was a weird moment, yet more insight into, I think, some of the dysfunction in their marriage. But that's my number 2 moment of the episode. So let's talk about our top moment of this episode, which happens to have occurred on their first night in Jamaica. I cannot imagine where this trip is headed. However, it begins when Ralph begins to talk about the book he is writing, in which he's talking about being a stepfather, as we saw earlier on in the episode when he met with the publisher. And Marlo initially commends him about his intentions to adopt JoJo, which we now know he's kind of backed away from because JoJo's father wants to be a part of his life. Once she learns what's happening, that, Ralph is no longer pursuing that, but instead, although I don't think she hears this part, but he says he wants to instead help his stepson navigate having 2 fathers in the picture. She just starts going in on him and questioning him and, judging the decision to now back away from it after they have, shared the initial decision to adopt him. Now, probably coming from anyone else, it might have been acceptable. However, as you know, in watching this season, we know that Marlo had kicked her own nephews out of the house for 30 days, or so she says it's going to be 30 days, so that she could regroup and rethink her own next steps in helping to raise them. So that her spirit in, I guess, interrogating Drew and Ralph kind of riles Candy up, and I think rightfully so, because Candy says, wait a minute, how are you going to, pass judgment on these 2 when you yourself have put your own nephews out and you yourself are backing away from a promise that you made to 2 young boys? So that then, of course, sets off the conflict between Candy and Marlo. Of course, Marlo takes the easy route, low-hanging fruit, and starts attacking Candy initially about her relationship with Todd and the perception that she is taking care of him. I think basically all the things that you've heard, other bloggers and vloggers say about the Todd Candy situation. She basically, in essence, repeats everything that I think we've heard Mama Joy say, and of course our shady producers are definitely there to pull up the footage and role play. So we have that happening. Again, I have to say I agree with Candy that, I get where Marlo was coming from. However, given some of the moves that she herself has made lately, it just didn't seem right that she would now be challenging Ralph about his decision to not pursue adoption. And again, I think Ralph is fair in making that decision. You have someone whose father still wants to be a part of his life. It's different if his father has no desire to be in his life, but you can't necessarily assume complete parental rights if you have a parent who actually still wants to be involved in that child's life. So the argument as it unfolded, of course there's low blows being tossed about. Todd reveals, well, he says that Marlo bought her way into the circle, but then he just really starts going in about some other things about Marlo, that maybe we as viewers did not have any insight into as it related to her, because she says, well, I came on with Phaedra, which is interesting that she came on with Phaedra, because I thought she came on as Nene's friends. And now I'm like, I guess I need to go back and look at the earlier episodes again, because obviously it's been many years since I saw them, but I thought she was always presented as Nene's friend. So interesting that she would bring up Phaedra. But that is my top moment of the night. Tell me your thoughts. What were your top 3 moments of the night? How did you feel about this episode? Is Marlo wrong? Did you feel a certain way about Candy jumping in to kind of disrupt Marlo's interrogation of Ralph? Do you think Ralph is wrong to now decide he is no longer going to adopt JoJo? Share your thoughts below, and I'll catch you in the next video.